We have our executive editor from South, Veeraraghav. He's been heading BQ Prime there, Editor South. Veera, thank you so much for joining us on NDTV. We just want to, understand, focus on Siddaramaiah. He asked for Kolar, he didn't get Kolar. Now, what does this mean for him?
Well, he asked for Kolar and Varuna. You see, it was ultimately his choice. There was nothing to do. Like any Congress Legislative Party leader, the chief, he gets to make his choice. He had announced Kolar. Then there was a little bit of a cold feet on that. He wanted Varuna. I think the real message for the moment, and as you point out rightly, Kolar has still not been announced. One needs to wait and see. But I think for the moment, the message is very clear. No indulgences. It will only be one seat per candidate, no matter who you are.
Okay.
It will only be one seat per, even if you're the chief ministerial face of the party, which is, of course, to be decided post-election, there will only be one seat. So the start point is this, that this conversation about Kolar was started by Mr. Siddaramaiah, and then the speculation over whether he wants to shift from Kolar to Varuna was also sparked off by Mr. Siddaramaiah, because I think internal polls suggested that Varuna was also possibly a very strong seat, and he himself yesterday has told reporters, and in Bangalore's local press, you have reports saying that his family has pressurized him to contest from Varuna, which means his son will not get a seat from anywhere else. He's vacated that seat. That's the first takeaway, big takeaway, Megha. I think for the moment, they're sticking to the one seat per person principle, and I think that's likely to go through at the end, because the other big principle, the big challenge would be for the Congress as it goes along. About 9 of those 17 rebel seats, the ones who from JDS and Congress quit from the parties and went with the BJP, 9 of those seats have been announced. Now, the remaining needs to be announced. The remaining 100 seats is the ones that are more contested for. The real challenge will be to find out those seats. I mean, that will be where the different camps of the Congress party will be lobbying for those seats. And I think in a post-poll scenario, they see that in the race for chief ministers, the one who has the maximum support of MLAs obviously gets through. So I think each of the top leaders would like to field as many of their candidates as possible in those seats as well, in those winnable seats.
Winnable seats, right. So, Veera, would it be a correct assessment to say that Congress tried to play safe by sending Siddaramaiah to Varuna?
I think it was not the Congress High Command's choice. It was Mr. Siddaramaiah's choice. Look, Kolar was considered an Ahinda. In Karnataka politics, you see constituencies as a Lingayat constituency, Vokkaliga constituency, or an Ahinda constituency. Kolar was considered an Ahinda constituency. But the problem in Kolar is that for the last since after 2004, there has never been a Congress MLA from Kolar. It has been a JDS seat. Even now, the sitting MLA is a JDS MLA who vacated, right? Which is why who was willing to vacate the seat. So the problem is that there is no party infrastructure in Kolar. There was a fear that the party infrastructure was not strong in Kolar. And then Siddaramaiah felt that in Varuna, he's firmly in charge of the narrative. You see, the underlining theme here is that there is fear that there will be rival factions trying to undercut each other. And when you are the chief ministerial face, like it happened last time, he contested from Chamundeshwari as well as Badami. And in Chamundeshwari, which was a prestige battle, he lost to the JDS. The problem for Siddaramaiah is that JDS sees him as enemy number one in many ways because of the personal animosity. So there is always fear about who can play in your seat. And I think that was possibly what was weighing on their mind. But ultimately, it was his choice to make. Both were considered safe seats, but Varuna a lot safer, given that it's his pocket barrel.
Then, interesting, no, Veera, explain this to us, that if there was so much of a problem in the Kolar seat, I mean, everybody is able to understand and assess what's going on there. Why was Siddaramaiah so keen on Kolar then?
Look, I'm being speculative here, but as a field reporter, when Kolar was announced, at that time, a couple of field reporters told me that it was a decoy. It was possibly not the seat that he was going to eventually contest from. However, I don't know. Look, beyond the point, I think politicians also change and take their decisions on the basis of how the ground mood is. There were individual surveys that were contested. I think he was very confident because of the fact that the MLA who was giving the seat from Kolar, the JDS MLA, is someone, I think there was a lot of trust and belief that they could manage that seat at the moment. But let's just wait and watch. We still haven't seen the announcement for Kolar being made. It is what most Congress leaders are categorically saying is that they have followed the one seat per person principle, no matter who you are, because you can't keep accommodating too many people. So let's see what happens in Kolar. Of course, the other big story, interesting story is KH Muniappa, 7-time MP, the big man who's won from Kolar. He is contesting from Devanahalli constituency for the first time as an MLA. That will be another interesting thing to watch. The rest of it is not really all stick to the surprises, except for about 8 seats where they have not announced the candidate or had changed, like Varuna, for instance. Yathindra was the Siddaramaiah son. It's now changed to Siddaramaiah. And then you have in Badami, for instance, you will have to announce the candidate because he vacates that seat.
Right. So all eyes are going to be on the second list of the Congress, and we'll wait and see who gets Kolar and who gets to fight from the Congress from that constituency. Suspense is still on. Thank you so much, Veeraraghav, for joining us on this story.